We want to wish everybody a Shabbat, happy and healthy Shabbat. B'Shem Hashem na'aseh v'natzliach. Very happy Rosh Chodesh Adar Rishon. This week's Parsha talks about the construction of the Holy Tabernacle, the Mishkan. V'asuli mikdash v'shachanti b'tocham. The first holy temple dedicated to God was built by Moses, Moshe Raya Mehemna. And we know the holiest object in the Mishkan is the Ark, the Aron HaKodesh. And the holiest part of the Aron is these two angelic figures that are facing each other, the Cheruvim. Now, the face of these angelic figures is a little boy and a little girl. Now the question the commentators ask, whenever God wanted to talk to Moses, the voice would emanate from between the two Cheruvim. So the holiest of holies, we know that the Mishkan had other kelim. We had the menorah, we had the Choshen HaMishpat, we had the Mizbeach HaKetoret, we had the Shulchan. But out of all of these holy objects, this Mishkan is divided into two different areas. The holiest of holies is where the Ark and the Ten Commandments was housed in here. And the holiest place where God would speak, His voice would emanate, was through Cheruvim. The question is very simply, why was there a face of a young boy and a young girl? And the reason, I saw a beautiful reason, is it teaches us the holiest thing in Judaism is Jewish education. The Ramban clearly says the first vessel, even before God instructs us to create the building, He instructs us to build the ark, because the ark is where it's at. The ark is the Jewish education, is knowledge, is the wisdom of the Almighty Creator. And what God is teaching us is that any nation without a future will become extinct. The future, the holiest thing we have is our children. That's why the Talmud says, Shabbat Kuf Yutet 119 Talmud page B, in the Gemara of Shabbat, it says, Amar Resh Lakish Amar Rabbi Yehuda, En ha'olam mitkayem ella bishvil hevel piyam shetikonot shel bet rabban. The entire world, the foundation of the world, is only existing because of the Torah studied by the young children. So the Gemara, the Talmud is mesmerized. Rav Papa tells Abaye, how could you say such a thing about me and you? Amar le Rav Papa Abaye, didi v'didach mahu. Rav Papa is mystified. How could you say that the entire world is only existent upon the Torah of the children? But how about me and you? Abaye says it makes a big difference. The children are pure, me and you aren't 100% pure. So Torah that has no sin, since we know it's impossible to sin when you're under 13. And that's why I just wanted to say a few minutes about, right now in Jewish history, there has not been a more dangerous time to have children. And we have to look ourselves in the mirror and ask, will my grandchildren be Jewish? Will my great-grandchildren be Jewish? The assimilation rate, heaven forbid, Rahman al-Islam, is in the 50 and 60% range. The holiest thing, number one priority, has to be, the holiest of holies is our children. And we have to realize, Jewish schools are expensive. I get the complaint constantly. But would you ever fathom of leaving your children without health insurance, God forbid? When we had a preschool here in our synagogue, Ma'ora Torah, my Rebbe Chacham Sevi Berkowitz Shlita, he said, we were trying to make higher grades and it should happen one day. But he said, sit down with each parent and explain to them that they should continue after preschool their Jewish education. He said, tell them this, that it's so important for the continuality of this family that they should stay Jewish, that it's such a priority, just like medical insurance. And to paraphrase the Rebbe, it's a spiritual insurance, because they've done so many different studies and they've found that children that have gone from 1st to 12th grade to Orthodox Jewish school, very low probability that they're going to assimilate. And if I could offer a critique, Rav Shach Zatzal used to say this was the mistake of us Sephardim. We invested in grand golden Batei Knesiot, Jewish prayer houses of worship, but we didn't invest enough time and effort like the Ashkenazim did into Jewish yeshivot, yeshivot ktanot, yeshivot gdolot. And if not for our prince of Torah, that giant, Rav Ovadia Yosef, that literally changed the face of Sephardic Judaism, there would be so many ignorant Jews, very wonderful Jews, but Jews that didn't invest and be enough knowledgeable about Jewish studies. So let's never forget, the most sacred and precious thing, our future, is our children. And if we love them, never forget, God puts the face of a child and a boy, a little boy and a little girl above the holiest ark where the 10 Commandments and the original Torah that Moshe wrote is, because to teach us the holiest of holies is our investment, and it's worth every penny, even if it may be backbreaking, to ensure that our children study the Torah. That pure Torah of the children is the only reason that God is keeping the world spinning and running. Have a wonderful Shabbat, and don't forget to subscribe.